good afternoon, or it's almost good evening, isn't it? So I've introduced myself a couple of times for this conference, but for those who have recently arrived, I'm Deb Ashby, and one of the great pleasures of being president of the RSS Society is to celebrate things, and in particular, what we're doing now is the awards. So this is now an established part of our annual conference, which means that we can really celebrate. We've got 5 awards tonight, and I've got some of my colleagues from the Honours Committee and from RSS Council who are going to help me do the citations, so I'll call them up as we need them. But the first 3 medals are the Guy medals. The Guy medals were named after one of our early presidents, William Guy, and in fact the gold medal, which is the first one we're going to award, was first awarded I think in 1891 or 1892, and the silver was awarded for the first time the year after. But they are given specifically, all 3 of them, and the language reflects the period in which they're set up, but they are intended to encourage the cultivation of statistics in scientific contexts and to promote the application of numbers to the solution of important problems in all the relations of life in which numerical method can be employed with a view to determining the laws that regulate them. And we've had a number of recipients over the years which illustrate the diversity of what the RSS do, and I think with tonight's winners, we'll be illustrating that yet again. So we're going to start with the gold medal. And the gold medal is awarded to a fellow of the Society who is judged to have merited a signal mark of distinction by reason of innovative contributions to the theory or application of statistics. And tonight that's going to Steve Buckland. So if I can ask Steve to come up and join me, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about him and what we've awarded the medal for. So, those of you who've read your conference packs will have found a leaflet inside that's got the full biographies, so I'm not going to read all of them. But essentially, Steve started his career in studying in Southampton, but then rapidly moved up to Scotland, where he's been in Edinburgh, Aberdeen, and more recently St Andrews, with a relatively brief period across in California, but decided to come back to Scotland. He's set up Centre for Research into Ecological and Environmental Modelling, and then he's also co-founded the National Centre for Stats Ecology. And I think I can do no better than read the citation, because the Guy Medal in Gold is awarded to Stephen Buckland for his significant and sustained contributions to the development of statistical methods for ecological applications over a period of more than 40 years. He's been a pioneer in developing robust statistical methods in many areas, including wildlife population assessment, biodiversity monitoring, and modelling population dynamics. He is one of the most internationally recognised and distinguished statisticians in his field, whose impact has been global for survey design and associated analytical methods, transforming the power, accuracy, and robustness of traditional methods, which in turn have led to the identification of declining populations and changes in biodiversity. In addition, Stephen has opened up advanced statistical methods to the user community by leading the development of freely available software, notably distanced now with over 50,000 users from 130 countries and associated core textbooks. So it gives me the greatest pleasure to present the Guy Medal in Gold to Steve Buckland, and I'm going to invite him to say a few words if he wishes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Well, I'd like to thank those who proposed me for this award and the RSS and especially the awards committee for choosing me. I received the notification from the RSS as an email attachment. The email itself was quite short and relatively uninformative. So I hovered over the attachment for a while, wondering whether it was safe to open it. Eventually, I took my courage into my hands and opened it and read it. And my second thought was, is this a clever email scam? So I read it again and again, and it started to sink in. I think it's actually only finally fully sunk in while I'm standing here. It's such an honor, and I'm so grateful for it. My interpretation is that it's an award recognizing the importance of teamwork and applied statistics if our work is to have real impact beyond our own discipline. And so my final thanks would be to all the various team members that I've worked with over the years who have actually contributed to this final result. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to invite my colleague Sheila Bird up to help me present the next award. So Sheila, if you'd like to be making your way up. Sheila is a multiple medal winner herself, but also a member of the Honours Committee. And the silver medal is awarded to any fellow of the Society for a paper or papers of special merit communicated to the Society at its ordinary meetings or published in any of its journals. So Sheila, if I can hand over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce Susan Murphy, who is a president of statistics and computer science at the Harvard John A. Paulson School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and the Radcliffe Alumni Professor at the Radcliffe Institute of Harvard University. Dr. Murphy and her lab team have developed data analysis methods and experimental designs to improve real-time sequential decision-making, and have done this in the context of mobile health. Her lab developed the micro-randomized trial for use in developing mobile health interventions. This trial design is in use across a broad range of health areas. Indeed, applications include for drug-dependent clients and in the developing world. Dr. Murphy is a member of the National Academy of Sciences and of the National Academy of Medicine, that is, of both of the United States National Academies. In 2013, she was awarded a MacArthur Fellowship for her work on experimental designs to inform sequential decision-making. She is a fellow of the College on Problems in Drug Dependence, a member of the International Statistical Institute, a fellow of the American Statistical Association, and of the Institute of Mathematical Statistics. She is a former editor, co-editor of the Annals of Statistics, president of the Bonnet Society, and currently president of the Institute of Mathematical Statistics. In 2018, she received the R.A. Fisher Award. In 2019, Susan Murphy receives the Royal Statistical Society's Guy Medal in silver. She is only the third female statistician so to do. The citation for Dr. Murphy reads as follows. The 2019 Guy Medal in silver is awarded to Susan Murphy for her methodological, computational, and applied work on dynamic treatment regimens. Susan's influential JRSSB paper in 2003 on optimal dynamic treatment regimens proposed a methodology for estimating decision regimens that result in a maximal mean response consistent with an elegantly defined regret function, and for use with experimental or observational data. Substantial follow-up work in the years since on multiple stage decision-making has built on this paper, including Susan's own work, ranging from sample size determination to performance guarantees for individualized treatment rules, and applications, as I have mentioned, ranging from addictions to micro-randomized optimization of mobile health interventions for the Fitbit generation. Professor Susan Murphy.
Thanks so much for that very nice introduction. I appreciate that. I heard through the grapevine that I had been nominated for this. And I probably shouldn't have heard that. I know. Let's not discuss that. Anyway, I was just so excited because, the UK, it's a place we all look to. I mean, in the States, I don't know if you know that, but all you have to do is come to the States and everyone thinks you're brilliant. And it was so exciting. I mean, it's true. And it was just so exciting just to even be nominated. And then when I got that little email, it was a very similar email with almost no text, I was quite surprised. So I really appreciate this honor. It's a big deal for me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So the final one of the Guy medals in bronze, before we go on to our other two awards, is the Guy Medal in Bronze, which is actually a somewhat newer medal. I think it was somewhere around about the 1930s that we first gave that. And that's to recognise someone at a slightly earlier stage of their career. So it's awarded to a fellow of the Society in respect of excellent work presented to a conference, so those of you presenting here, you never know, or meeting run by the Society or published in the Society's journals. Eligible candidates must be within 15 years of the award of their first degree. Other contribution statistics can also be taken into account. So I would like to invite Jonas Peters up to the stage. We are working our way around the continent, so Jonas has had a career that's taken him all over the continent of Europe, so to Germany, to Switzerland. He's also spent time in Cambridge, and he's building statistical methods robust to distributional shifts to look at causal relationships from different sorts of data. And he really tries to combine theory methods and applications, but also gets into computation statistics, causal inference, graphical models, and so on. And the citation is that the Guy Medal in Bronze is awarded to Jonas Peters for important and innovative contributions to causal inference and related statistical methodology and theory. Of particular note are his two papers in JRSSB, which are kernel-based tests for joint independence with 3 co-authors published in 2017, and causal inference using invariant prediction, identification, and confidence intervals with 2 co-authors, read to the Society in 2016. And if I was being efficient, I would have done my little walk over there. But it gives me the most enormous pleasure to present the Guy Medal in Bronze to Jonas Peters. So.
Thank you very much. I really could not be more honored to receive this prize. In particular, I'm very happy to receive it from the RSS, which, in my opinion, hosts some journals which are among the best in our field. And I have to say that the experience having a paper read in front of the RSS was among the best experiences in my academic life, which I think we should think about extending. I would like to thank all my collaborators. I was very lucky to be able to work with wonderful scientists, many of which became friends over the years. I feel that the prize acknowledges also the importance of causal inference, which is a bit of a peculiar field to work in because half of the people think you're working actually with causalities, and the other half, and here I cite the former rector of the ETH Zurich, thinks you're working on causal interference. So if there are a few people left then who are not confused by the name, then they might be confused by the field, by the content, because they think it's either philosophy or voodoo science. And I would, if I may, take 2 minutes to convince you that it's really not the case. So this is very, very easy to see. So if you imagine that you're measuring the activity of a gene, let's say a gene expression, and at the same time you're measuring a phenotype, think about flowering time, you might see that there's a dependence, so let's say a positive correlation. So the stronger, the more active the gene is, the larger the phenotype, for example. And then what we are very used to is, as statisticians, is to say, well, what is the best prediction for the phenotype if we are given a certain activity level of the gene? You can think about regression, about conditional means, so this is what we are very used to. However, it's a very different question to ask, well, what is the best prediction for the phenotype if we delete the gene? So we actively intervene in the system, we set the activity down to 0, what is then the best prediction? And if you ever want to answer a question like this, we have to talk about causal models, because only causal models are able to model not only the observational distribution, but a lot of interventional distributions at the same time. And if I may say, so now you can say, well, what about physical models? Aren't they even more mechanistic? And I think many people would agree. So many people think that there are 3 different layers of models. So an observational model, think about modeling a process as a multivariate Gaussian with a certain covariance matrix, then a causal model that is able to model all these interventional distributions, and then really the physical model. And it's interesting to see that in many situations we don't know about the physical model, but we can still do interesting things. And William Guy, as far as I know, his main field of research was medicine. This is where we do it all the time. We provide drugs to people, and even though we don't exactly know how they work in the body, we know exactly how the body reacts and help improve people's lives. There are many, many, many interesting questions in natural sciences and social sciences related to this. Recently, people are interested in the causal effect from climate change on extreme weather conditions. We have seen, I think, a very impressive talk before lunch on international development, where we saw all these questions about what are the right policies, that is, what are the right interventions, how shall we intervene, where should we intervene, and when should we intervene to improve people's lives. I think these questions are all related to causality, and although we are starting to work on some of these sort of bigger scope applications, I feel that personally I haven't spent enough time working on them. They are interesting questions, they are also important, and I think they have a causal component. So maybe after all the ETH rector was right in that the field of data science requires more causal interference. So thanks again for this award. I'm very happy, and thanks for your attention.
We now move on to the Barnett Award, and Steve Pennick's going to come up and help me in a second. So the Barnett Award is one of our newer awards, and it's a named lecture which is established in memory of Vic Barnett, which is aimed at encouraging and promoting recognition of outstanding contributions to the field of environmental statistics, which covers both methodological development, application of stats methods to environmental sciences, or exposition. And Steve Pennick, who is one of the honorary officers on Council, and indeed I think you're now President-elect of the ISI, so congratulations, because that's a recent news that it's been confirmed, I think. So Steve is going to help me make that award. So over to you, Steve.
Well, thank you very much, Deborah. And I'm really delighted to be asked to present the Barnett Award, given that it celebrates some of the links between statistics and public policy. And this is presented to Marian Scott. Marian, if you'd like to come and join me. Marian is Professor of Environmental Statistics at the University of Glasgow, an elected member of the International Statistical Institute, I'm very pleased to say, and also a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, where she's currently a Vice President. She's a member of the Joint Nature Conservation Committee, a member of the EU Scientific Committee on Health, Environment and Emerging Risks, and a board member of the James Hutton Institute. So let me just read from the citation, Marian. The 2019 Barnett Award is made to Marion Scott for her outstanding pioneering research into the application of innovative statistical techniques to environmental issues. Internationally recognized, Marion's impactful work delivers statistically sound evidence supporting environmental science, policy, regulation, and management in areas ranging from radioactivity, water quality, to air pollution. Her interdisciplinary work at the interface between statisticians, environmental scientists, and policymakers has had a major influence on a range of environmental agencies and organizations. Marion was awarded an OBE for services to science in 2009. And tomorrow morning at 10:10, you can hear her give the Barnett Lecture, which is entitled Data Lakes from the Data Deluge, a Digital Environment Vision. Congratulations, Marion.
So very quickly, I'm very honoured to receive this award. I knew Vic very well, and I'm very appreciative. I have two reflections.
in the challenging times that we live in on this planet, working with data, delivering evidence of, and then attribution of changes in support of making decisions. Note my connection to the RSS strapline. Statisticians and their role is really important and increasingly so. The second reflection I have is that statistics won't save the planet alone. So career advice is collaborate, make new connections, and make, as I have, lifelong friends. It's most enjoyable. So thank you very much.
Thank you. The final award that we are making tonight is to celebrate the, if you like, the new generation, because Guy medal in bronze possibly accepted. Most of these are people at sort of this distinguished end of their career, which is great, but unless there are new people coming through, that's not good news. So the Research Statistical Society, the RSS Research Prize is awarded to a fellow of the Society near the beginning of their research career for an outstanding published contribution to statistical theory or application. Eligible candidates must be within 8 years of the award of their first degree, and I'd like to invite Jen Rogers, who's the Vice President for External Affairs, but was also absolutely instrumental in setting up the Young Statisticians section. Seems a highly appropriate person to tell you about the winner of that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my honour to be presenting this award. I'm not sure I'm actually classed as young anymore. It depends on how you count the PhD years. But yeah, I'm very quickly not becoming, no longer a young statistician. But anyway, yes, so the winner of the Research Prize this year is Tengyao Wang, who is a lecturer in statistical data science at University College London. He obtained his PhD and worked as a postdoc under Professor Richard Samworth at the University of Cambridge. If Tengyao Wang would like to make his way onto the stage, the citation for him says that this year the Royal Statistical Society Research Prize is awarded to Tengyao Wang for his outstanding and diverse contributions to statistical methodology and theory. Amongst other research, he has given new understanding about computational and statistical trade-offs, developed theory for multidimensional shape-constrained estimators, and introduced a new paradigm and method for detecting changes in high-dimensional data streams. So it's my huge privilege to say congratulations to Tengyao Wang.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't usually wear like this, but you can see how important this is to me. Thank you very much. And it's a great honor, and I'm really humbled to receive this award. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all those people who have helped me along the way to get to where I am now. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank the Royal Statistical Society for your recognition and also your support to young statisticians. I still remember the first paper I read when I was in a PhD was a discussion paper on GRSSB about multi-scale change point problem. And that has to a great extent shaped my research interest and also motivated me with the kind of quality of work that I should strive to achieve. And I'm also very fortunate to have collaborated with many distinguished statisticians, learning along the way to develop a good taste for interesting problems and also research that can have great impact on the society. Among these, I'd like to give my heartfelt thanks to my PhD supervisor, my mentor, Professor Richard Samworth. I still remember I first met Richard when I was at Freshers' reception party when I first joined Cambridge. I didn't know him at the time. Well, and I was completely drawn by his enthusiasm and knowledge in the field, and that's when I decided to do a PhD and have a career in statistics. It has been many years since then, and it's a great learning journey that I have worked with him on many, many interesting problems since. Finally, I'd like to thank my family, and especially my wonderful wife. Thank you for being the joy of my life, and also thank you for being supportive on everything that I do. Thank you all.
So those awards illustrate some of the diversity and richness that is statistics. All that remains for me to do now is to thank you for your attention and to give my congratulations to all the recipients of the honours, as well as my thanks to those who've helped me do the citations. And my final pleasure tonight is to invite you to enjoy the reception that we're about to have, which is both to celebrate the awards and to give you a chance to look at those posters. And the drinks will be served in the exhibition hall. So enjoy it, talk to people that you haven't yet met, and have a good celebration. See you tomorrow.